Hello and welcome back to the City Structures channel. In this video, we're going to look at how to create custom tool palettes in AutoCAD. Now this is a useful way to access your frequently used functions and objects, so it helps you to speed up your drawing work. Now we look at how to create them, how to add tools to them, and finally how to save them or export them. So let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do, you want to go to the View tab and click on Tool Palettes. So ideally, AutoCAD comes with just some default tool palettes. So as you can see, we have some mechanical here. If you want to view all of them, you just go to All Palettes here. So there are various kinds, as you can see. But now, how do we create our own? Now, in order to create our own, right click on the bar here, go to Customize Palettes. Now first of all, we're going to create a group or a palette group. So on this space here, just right click and select new group. So I can say my palette group, then enter. Then we're also going to create a new tool palette. So perhaps I can say custom palette 1, for example. Now after I've done that, just select it and drag it to the group so that it can be nested into it. So once I'm done, I click on close, click on this gear here, I'll select the group that I've created. So as you can see, we have the custom palette here that is created. If I wanted to, I can also add another palette. So just right click on new palette. You can say custom palette 2, something of that sort, but we're going to do that. Just create one. So now, how do we add tools or objects into the palette? So you can do that perhaps either in the drawing you're in currently, or you can also obtain objects from other drawings. If you go to the, for example, if you go to the design center, you can just locate perhaps a drawing you've done before. Then perhaps you want to just access the tools, or rather the objects that are within it. So I do not want to pin it. Yeah, I believe it does that. So for example, keep in mind we're dealing only with objects. So if I go to blocks for this drawing here, there are a couple of blocks already available. So perhaps I select it, then I click and hold and drag it into this palette. So automatically it's been added. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use within this drawing. But that's also another way you can just populate this part. So let me just delete this and close this. Now, for example, we're in this drawing. Perhaps I want to add some lines which I'll be using frequently. So for example, I wish to add the slab line, so that I don't have to keep on selecting the polyline tool, trying to select the layer in which I'll be in. I'm just going to use it directly. So I select it, I right click and hold, then just drag it into the palette. So immediately when I just leave it, it's going to place it there. If I right click and click on properties, it has all the properties of that line, so I don't need to keep on changing them, or rather obtaining them or selecting them. So what I do, I can rename it, I can call it slab outline. Also do the same for perhaps the reinforcement. In this case, I'm looking for a polyline because polylines are more flexible. So I select it, right click, hold, place it there. I rename it slab rebar, something like that. Then I can also decide for the beams. So this is a piece of it. So I want it to be a polyline. So I can select two of them and just join them. Then once they are joined, they're not attached, so we just join them. If I select it, do the same, place it there. then I rename it beam outline, for example. Now I've created 3 lines here. So essentially, if I want to draw a rebar, I don't need to go through that long process of selecting the line, the layer. Just click on slab rebar and begin to draw. So let's also add some objects, perhaps the rebar marks. So I can select this. So it's already a block, as you can see. So I can just right click and hold, drag it, place it there. I can also perhaps look for another one. Let me go to the footings. Perhaps on this point, I'm going to select this one as well. Right click and hold. So for this one, perhaps let me just specify the scale. Let's say 100. We'll call out. This one is for scale of 25. So I can also go ahead and add perhaps also the dimensions or the detailing marks, something like this. So this is for scale 25. So I select it, click and drag, place it there. I rename it 25 detailing. Also go back to the slab, just do the same, select this one, right click, hold, drag, rename it 100 detailing, something like that. Then I can also add some texts or text styles. So perhaps something of this sort. We select this one, just click and hold, then I can call it 25 label, so just for the scale. Then I can call this one, just select it and drag it, rename it, you can say 50 label. So according to its scale, selected the scale. I can also add some multi-leader styles here. So perhaps I can select this one, just hold and drag it, place it there. Then I can rename it as rebar lead. So 25 rebar lead. So keep in mind, it's going to take all the properties of that multi-leader. So I can also select this one, just a different style. Rename it 25 rebar lead 2. This other one, something of that sort. Now, once I've done that, I might want to also organize this these tools perhaps into different segments. So on the space, just right click, perhaps add a text. So I can say drawing lines, and I select and drag to the top. So this is going to represent these 3 lines, these polylines. Then I can add a separator, select it and drag. Then I can also add another text, rebar objects, select it and drag it, then add a separator, place it here. Then I can also add text, just to call it annotations, place it here, the top. I can also add hatches. So for example, we have some concrete hatch here. So after I've selected it, I click and drag it. It's going to be at the bottom. Let me just create a separator, place it here. Also add text, type hatches, then perhaps rename this concrete hatch. Also add another hatch, perhaps this one for the strap beam. Just select it, click and drag it, place it there, right click, you can call it strap beam hatch, something of that kind. So as you can see, we've created our own palette with our own tools. So perhaps we also want to save them so that we can use it later on, or export it or give it to somebody else. So to do that, right click, go back to the customize palettes, this window. So you can either save the palette itself, as you can see it's here, or you can save the palette group as a whole. So it all depends on you. I can decide, but the process is just the same. So I select it, for example the group, I right click and export. So I'm going to pick, let's go to AutoCAD custom content tool palettes. So I have my palette group here, just save it there. So even if I were to, I can't delete it because it's the current one. So let me select another one, parametric design for example. Now perhaps I deleted it or closed it. I can reaccess it back or bring it back to the project. Just click on import, then I look at custom palette group. Oh, that was my palette group. Okay, so as you can see, it's been added there. Then if I close, I can reaccess it again like that. So that's how you can create your own palettes and palette groups, how you can populate them, and also how you can save and export them. So if you found this video useful, you can just like and subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video.